On today's World Insight with Tian Wei, face recognition technology in apps draws alarm over privacy and security. What are the risks? And a century in the humanitarian frontline, the IFRC buckles down to work its continuing mission, in the words of IFRC President Francesco Roca. Here is our host, Tian Wei.
Hello and welcome to World Insight, coming to you live on CGTN from Beijing. To begin our story, a popular Chinese mobile app has sparked controversy over the concerns of inappropriate use of personal information. The AI app called Zao has gone viral after its debut last week, topping the Apple App Store downloads in the entertainment category in China on Sunday. It enables users to replace the faces of celebrities in hit movies or TV series. Users can choose from a pool of video clips and upload a photo of their faces. Despite its novelty, many worry their personal information, photos and footage could be transferred and used elsewhere without their consent. The biggest controversy surrounds the app's unfair terms. First, it gives the app a permanent and irreversible right to access and transfer user info for free. Second, that right also applies to user profiles, images, and content. And third, it allows other platforms and Zao's parent companies to re-edit and reuse the existing content. Media reports of the problem put the app at the center of the storm, and later Zao has revised the user agreement. Earlier this week, China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology asked the company about user issues and said it should be regulated. Privacy concerns over apps are not new. Social media giants like Facebook have also drawn criticism about that before. So what's the balance between high-tech use and privacy protection, and how can developers protect the personal information of their users? Those are serious questions up for a discussion. For more on deepfake apps and facial recognition technology and what they really imply, in New York we have Joanna Chung, who is an intercultural film critic and filmmaker. She's going to help us to understand more from the image perspective. With me here in our Beijing studio, we have Andy Mark, who's a senior fellow at Center for China and Globalization. Meanwhile, we're also joined by Guy Ke, associate professor at School of Computer Science and Technology from Beijing Institute of Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our program. I want to go to Ms. Chung first. Well, as a film critic and someone who's very sensitive to images, what do you make of the use of this app and let common people to be able to become an actor and actress in famous films or TV series to begin with?
Well, this very technology fake, the image that is being employed here is actually a merging of the existing actors and actresses with the viewer's image. To me, it's entertaining only to a small degree. It is deeply dangerous on the infringement of intellectual property of the existing actors and actresses. I don't know what's their the rights that's being released, but to me the danger facing the entertainment industry is greater than the pure a few seconds of egotistic kind of entertainment. So it's a double-edged sword we're facing here. The issue goes far more beyond a film industry. It is mainly humanity at war with AI technology. I wouldn't want to think it's a war. I would like to think AI improves humanity, but in this case, to me, it's very alarming.
Very interesting. Mr. Guy, to you, who is a technology expert and has been doing research about facial recognition actually over the years, what do you think are the core issues outplayed here?
I think there are a number of implications from the case. the first thing comes into my mind is the concept of privacy, because obviously the concept of the privacy is changed now. In the past, the privacy was mainly considered like personal information, for example, the address or phone call records.
Or ID number.
Yeah, exactly. But from this case, we know the biometric also becomes one of the content of the privacy. So the scope of privacy is getting bigger nowadays with the development of technology. Second, I think the security and privacy issues already become very serious issue now. No matter what kind of technology we are using. Actually, we have a lot of good technology. For example, the face swapping technology is really good, but the problems of the security and privacy are not solved yet. So once we use the technology to develop the apps, the problems will appear. So sometimes we just fail in applying the technology. So
right. One of the things, Mr. Mark, this app specifically created uproar among users and regulators is because in the user's guidance, the so-called agreement between the user and also the app creator, there is specific clause saying, well, your personal info will not be your personal info anymore. I can take advantage of that wherever I want and however I want. I think that is one of the factors in which it inflames the whole internet and the user community, it seems, Mr. Mark.
I think that's absolutely correct. And just as our first guest, Joanna, said, there are IP issues at work here. So first is the IP of the movie or the TV show. But now what's happening too, so we have to separate deepfake from facial recognition. These are two entirely separate things. So with this deepfake, all this means is we could put your face, my face, somewhere else, right? Now, Andy Warhol said that everyone will have their 15 minutes of fame. What Zal gives everybody is the 15 minutes of feeling famous, because now your face is in Titanic. And what this is doing, though, now is who owns your face now. So but it's an IP issue, I see.
It is an IP issue, but on the other hand, really deepfake is that farther away from the real technology of facial recognition? That's the issue here, because without facial recognition technology being applied, how would you be able to use so-called, quote-unquote, deepfake?
Well, so it's two things. So deepfake just means we could take your face and put it on someone else's body, right? It doesn't mean that we can look at your face and say, oh, this is Tian Wei. She's an anchor for CGTN. So those are two related but somewhat different things. So the issue with deepfakes, though, is that they've existed for a while. So we look back even, 2 years ago, there was a video with President Obama saying things that he really didn't say. And it looked a little fake, but we could tell that this was coming. And this is actually seen as a national security threat. So the United States, other countries are saying, this is such a vital concern that as a country we need to do something. And of course, we were talking before the show, this is a threat to personal individuals as well, whether your bank account, other types of information. This is a very broad problem.
Right, it is a broad issue, but there are things coming in different stages, because without facial recognition technology being applied here, it's impossible to use it with the deep fake possibility. That is, we have to make sure to begin with, and therefore it creates a discussion, not just about the deep fake and 15 minutes of fame for everyone, because it's for entertainment. But at the same time, people enjoying entertainment is their right. But they don't need to sacrifice their personal data and also their personal security during this process. So it's not about one and then you throw away the other, isn't it, Mr. Guy?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's complicated because in the past, like, for example, the cloud computing, we know the cloud service and we upload our data, and we already told that there was a risk about the data because of lack of control. And actually the security and the privacy in a networking environment was not an old question, because we already know the risk was there, but this time it's like too obvious, because people will realize the security and privacy issues were just there, and we upload our image, and we don't know, we just cannot control where the image will become used, and or who's going to store it or download it or So
you can't control unless you really want to control it.
Exactly.
That is really the issue here. So why don't we want to control it? Should we control it? Ms. Chung, it seems that you've been talking about the privacy issue of the users. Now, Ms. Chung, users are the most vulnerable part because they don't control the technology and they don't control the legal work. And also they don't control policy. But they are the ones who have to sacrifice their personal data. That is the issue here, isn't it?
Well, I think there's even more or bigger issues than privacy. Privacy is the fundamental issue. In the past, in the ancient China, feet used to be the ID, and now in 21st century, face become your ID. So of course you want to be very careful as how do you use or give rights. But I think the bigger issue here to me is what is entertainment. If entertainment is given or enjoyed at the expense of your own security or at the infringement of other people's rights, that's
right.
not entertainment. All entertainment has the function of education. This, according to behavioral social science, all, like a video game, all entertainment, it allures you into a certain mode of thinking. If you think cutting up people's head, replacing yours, is kind of pleasurable, and to me that's just a wrong way of kind of entertainment. I think we as a society need to be so alert of what's the bottom line here. The morality is decreasing in this futuristic war between technology and humanity. I really say war all the time because I do know, I mean, technology can enhance human activity, but there's very fine balance. We really have to dance within this chaos. The world is too much in chaotic. With this new deepfake face swapping, I'm afraid the chaos will be even more massive.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, you are already asking some very fundamental issues, which is the meaning of things. You know, what is the meaning of privacy, right, today? What is the meaning of entertainment? And what is the meaning of this relationship between the user and also the creator, or shall I say the service provider? That's a fundamental issue we want to ask Mr. Guy, for example. Facebook also have been running into same trouble with similar troubles about its application of face recognition technology with its platform. Now, today we have heard the news. Facebook has vowed to not to use that technology and also let it by default. So, how do you see commitment by companies like this? Should they be trustworthy? Is there any way that user will be able to verify whether these so-called promises have been abided by the business community once they make it?
Well, I also heard about the news of, of the Facebook.
Right.
I actually, even though the Facebook made this move, it's still we cannot trust the company because the data would once the data uploads to the server, right, because we don't know who are going to download the data because it's already available on the internet, so it's a pretty open environment. It's all across the world. Even though Facebook says, okay, we are not going to use the data once you turn off the function, but during the service delivery process, the data are already available on the internet. So that's the point. So who's going to monitor this is
so you're saying a bigger issue is not about just the business provider or the service provider that has to abide by the principle that they promise, but also the overall environment of the internet has also abided by the respect of the privacy. Mr. Mark.
Well, you know, I think there's a couple things here, Tianwei. So what you said, your view about this, many people
I do
share.
not have any views about this. The reason I'm saying things is because I want to invite your views out with some concrete, specific examples.
So fair enough.
Okay.
So I think the issue here around privacy is much more than just facial recognition. Because when we look at Facebook, we look at Google, their business model is predicated on users, people like you and me,
users' info,
giving them information about what are we interested in, who are our friends, and they turn around and monetize that, and our faces are only one part of that, right? So I think that this is, rightly or wrongly, this is the trade we're making. We're trading our privacy for free services. And in the world of marketing in the U.S., there's a saying that American consumers will accept death before inconvenience. And what that means is that what we say, we value privacy, we value this, we value that, but our behavior shows we gladly let people use our personal information if we can get something of value for free.
Really, I'm not sure if many would agree with you, particularly when they know that their bank account will be had access in once facial recognition technologies collect their biometrics. And for example, other information of privacy might be violated about them once this technology will be applied, and the information related to that will be used anywhere that the service provider would like to use. That probably is the consequences that we are talking about. I'm not sure that's going to happen every time, but there is a big possibility for that. Ms. Chung, your thoughts?
Well, I really think there is no privacy at all in the near future, or maybe now. The privacy issue is so minor. You think you have privacy just because you do not give your right to other people to use, but you are already living in a dystopia future, which George Orwell described so well in 1949. Well, he wrote this book in 1984.
Yes.
So we do not have privacy anymore, even though, so within this chaotic future, and it is really critical for our humanity to retain humanity.
Well, what do you mean by retain humanity? The reason why,
so
Ms. Chung, if I could just propose, the reason why a legal framework exists is because it is creating a bottom line of ethics and normality for the society. So when we are saying let's maintain the humanity, how are you going to enforce that? How you're going to make sure it's going to be there? That is the issue here.
The issue is Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk, both of them expressed concerns about how fast we're going to use AI technology to improve human life. And so therefore there is danger of abusing AI. I believe this deepfake entertainment is one of those being exploited in the name of entertainment. I personally feel very like perplexed about this. In fact, I'm resentful. I will never try this, because to have not even 15 minutes, 15 seconds of fame. I mean, if fame is what we're doing, it is such a fake, superficial culture we're living right now. We're losing humanity. We're fighting losing battle. This is the issue. The technology is neutral, but if we as humans do not have morality or even ethics, the technology will take us over.
Let me ask
planting chips in the future.
Let me ask you a related question, Ms. Chung, because you seem to give a hint suggesting if it is not about deep fake, you might want to give your personal information, including personal information that could relate it to, for example, access to your bank account, which has a lot to do now these days with facial recognition information anyway, for free. Is that what you're saying? If it's not about entertainment, you would love to give it to any third party that would use those info any way they want. You seem to suggest that. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm trying to say humanity is at a brink of losing humanity.
Okay.
What I mean is, privacy issue is so small right now. We need to think about the bigger picture. The bigger picture is we are so indulged in technology-driven entertainment at the expense of morality, at the expense of ethics. And to me, what is the difference between human and animals? Sometimes I admire animals. They have empathy.
Okay.
And they all sentient beings. You see what I mean? Privacy is a very small issue.
Absolutely, I see
think
your
with
point.
A civilized society, privacy will be respected.
But one could not expect an idealistic and civilized society just become what it is, right? Just be there and always remain the same.
So we need to strive for it.
Okay, how should we strive for it? That's part of the question we really need to ask here. Do we have systems, for example, technological...
I think the government...
Yeah, technological ways of monitoring both the service provider and also whoever is using the data, right? Do we have a legal framework in order to protect the basic rights of the users? Do we have enough social contract in different ways so that different players would respect the property of privacy of those individuals? That's the thing that we are talking about here. Mr. Guy, I'm going to come back to you later, Ms. Chung, a bit, but Mr. Guy, your thoughts here.
I totally agree with your point of framework. From the perspective of technology, I think we already have a number of approaches, but none of them are perfect. For example, we can encrypt data, but still this method is restricted by the indexing or searching, I mean the functionality. And we are trying to have like good solutions to homomorphic encryption, but the efficiency is not good enough to support the real-time service. Now we have another option, which is blockchain-based technology. In Beijing Institute of Technology, we have very big team
working on that.
Yes, we are working on it, and what we are trying to do is to make data traceable in a full life circle.
Which means the user could also be one of the participants to monitor exactly what their info is going.
Right. We want to know like where the data are and who are using the data. So in this case, I think, for example, if we upload the data, or personal data or image to the server, that means we will know like who are using my data or my image.
I see. But how far are they from being put into the market and be really helping the individual customers or users?
Actually, we are making a lot of effort on it. Hopefully, like in a few years, I think there are on-ground applications.
Right, but we have immediate urgency that now we need to resolve right now, not 2 to 3 years from now. But so, Mr. Mark, what do you think are the solutions?
Well, I think the solutions are what they've been throughout history. I mean, these are all accelerating now because of the digitization, 5G, et cetera, right? I think the solution is that we will not miss privacy that much when it's gone, meaning that...
Really?
Yes, I do.
Let's have your personal biometric information right now being shown to our viewers around the world. You don't miss it, you just said.
Well, people that are watching TV can see our faces. So if they want to put my face into a deep fake, I wouldn't like it. But on the other hand, this is one of the downsides of living in society. We drive cars. There's a risk of getting into accidents. We get into airplanes, there's a risk of accidents, delays, luggage
we're
getting
talking
lost.
about very different scales and very different occasions in which we're doing that, right? How many chances you would become a victim in the accident or traffic accident compared to your personal data will be stolen and taken away from something like a deep fake app? It's totally different we're talking about here.
Well, I think it depends. I mean, so we think worst case automobile accident, you die, right? If someone steals money from your bank account, you've lost money, you're still alive. So I think these are not good things. And in an ideal world, we want none of it to happen, but we don't live in an ideal world. There are always trade-offs.
And you're saying, let's just do nothing about all the bad things that could be happening to us.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I think government has a role to play.
Good.
Businesses...
Now, finally, you are saying solutions.
Well, look at how the financial sector, banks have handled the use of ATM cards, right? Because people used to be very frightened. If I lose my ATM card, someone figures out my PIN, they take all my money, right? What did the banks do? They said, we will limit your loss to $50. So they're essentially providing insurance. So there are solutions, but I think privacy is gone. I mean, look at video surveillance, cities around the world. We really do have no privacy. Okay,
one final word from Ms. Chung. I promise you, but my producer is telling me time is really running out. So 20 seconds for you, Ms. Chung, if you can. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm very pro-future, but the future cannot be expanded or developed at the expense of losing humanity.
Okay.
We need to describe or design entertainment based on preserving humanity.
Wonderful. Joanna Chung, Guy Keke, last but not least, Andy Mark. Really appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. Fascinating discussion. I'm sure those discussions will continue. At least we hope they will continue before we find the real solution. Thank you so much.